Welcome back to Mad Genius. I'm Ariel Kashanchi, and it's post-Oscar time. It's time where people are supposed to talk about all the hijinks that happened at the Oscars. And I have to say that typically it's like a masturbatory experience to me. It's just a bunch of actors being self-congratulatory and thinking of themselves. I mean, it's just too much pomp and circumstance. But I went to an Oscar party, and that made it a lot of fun. It was like my friend threw this themed party where she I didn't watch any of the movies also. But she made appetizers each based on the movie with cute little pun names, and everyone at the party was cool. There were no where you're oh god, I don't want to have to talk to you. There was no people like that. Everybody was jovial. And then we watched White Lotus afterwards, which I hadn't watched also. I mean, I tried watching it, the first episode of the first season. I couldn't get into it for some reason. But this particular episode that we watched, I was like, no, this is, I think, a season worth investing in. I think I'm going to watch the whole... I'm going to go back and watch episode 1 and 2, get caught up, because this was number 3, and keep it going from there. Oh my God, I watched the Meghan Markle show, the With Love Meghan. And man, speaking of self-congratulatory, and then she brings Mindy Kaling on, and for some reason, Mindy is being really obsequious. And it's dude, look at who you are. You're this super accomplished, not just an actress, not just a comedian, but somebody who is created and produced and written for TV. And you're in the presence of somebody who just married somebody who happened to be born into a lineage. But that was weird to watch. And all she does is sprinkle dried edible flowers onto things and make it a really big deal. And she keeps reiterating that it's not her house, and it's not. So it's just kind of, it's it just feels weird. It feels weird, this show. It doesn't it doesn't it's just incongruent. There's something off about it. I think it's because Meghan Markle is a charlatan. Let's be honest. And the friends she brings on are not really her friends. It's very clear that these are people who are just who just tangentially know each other or met once or twice. So I'm not into it. What else is going on in the world? Oh, the measles are back. They're having a comeback. There was one casualty, which is really sad. And now people are trying to catch measles to get immunity instead of just getting the vaccine. There are people who are having measles parties. And I would much rather attend a key party. This sounds like the most idiotic idea, to take your immune system and threaten it like that, when there's a simple solution. So that's the world we're living in. Okay, so remember Casey Anthony, whose daughter died, and I don't remember if it was negligence or she killed her, but I think she served some time. She is now trying to rebrand herself as oh, I didn't write down what she's trying to rebrand herself as. It's some kind of, oh no, as like a law influencer. And as if she's like an advocate for the people. Like, ooh, I just noticed my posture. Ooh, God. When you notice your own posture, it's so embarrassing because you say to yourself, is that what I do? I walk around like a frumpadump, and apparently, according to this recording, yes, I do. And so that needs to be corrected. But yeah, I mean, Casey Anthony shows that you can be a completely shameless piece of shit and keep on trying, I guess, because people will talk about you, because here we are talking about this woman. Disney is introducing an openly Christian character after ditching a transgender story. So the fact that they have to call the character openly Christian as if that's an other to be religious, like, it's just so strange that Disney has othered religiousness. That's all. Why not just say a Christian character as opposed to openly Christian? Like people are secretly Christian. Like they're in the closet about their Christianity. It's not, I think a lot of people who are into Christianity are openly Christian. I would say that all Christians are openly Christian. I don't think you need to include that word, but here we are. 30 officers at an LA County juvenile detention hall are being charged with enabling gladiator fights. So they would basically get these child inmates to have gladiator fights for their entertainment. And I gotta say, if I was a prison guard, I would probably do the same thing. It sounds pretty hilarious. And I mean, you do get bored at work sometimes, and so I understand. And you know, these poor kids. Okay, fine, I do feel bad for the kids, but yeah, at the same time, I can't say I don't get it. I can't say I don't get it. Oh my God. So last night, I was supposed to go to The Moth, which is a storytelling show. It's called The Moth Grand Slam. It's like they have them across the country, and you tell, it's a lottery to go up. So it's kind of an open mic. But it's really fun, and every show has a theme, and this month's theme was beef, and I had the perfect story, and I'm like, this is great. I did a couple open mics to work through the story, like story open mics. That's like a thing where you go to an open mic and it's either for comedy or for doing storytelling. And I was ready to go, and my ex-boyfriend was supposed to come with me, and I snoozed and I losed. I waited way too long to purchase my ticket, and it was sold out. So I'm going to share the story here with you. A few years ago, I'm driving home from work, a long day of working a social media job, and I was hungry and exhausted. Oh, and I think I had just gone grocery shopping too. And so I'm pulling into my street, and this Domino's driver almost hits me. And then he starts screaming at me. And I'm like, oh, he's psychotic. So to placate him, I'm like, sorry, sir. And I move on. And I go park. And then he pulls up to my car and starts screaming at me. And I'm like an idiot, I roll down my window, which I will say that was not wise of me to do. I shouldn't have rolled down my window, but this is like just after I had my brain surgery and my head injury and everything, and I had just been cleared to drive. So I wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. And he starts screaming at me and berating me, and I'm like, sorry. Nothing fucking happened either. Nothing happened. Literally nothing happened. He almost hit me, and it would have been his fault. And he's screaming at me. And I'm like, I don't know what, I'm sorry. And then I'm like, I don't know what to tell you. And I roll my window up. And then he parks his car in the middle of the street. So if I get out, it looks like he's going to attack me. So, and this is like very clearly an incel from 4chan, who's on 4chan, and he's dying to tell his loser friends about this encounter. And so I'm like, I have to drive off and like drive away until he leaves and then park. And so I pull out of that spot, and he starts following me. And I'm like, okay, all right. He's trying to scare me. And he's holding his phone, and he's recording me with a crazed look in his eyes. And I'm like, okay, I'll signal left, and then I'll turn right. And he turned right. And I was like it was in the middle of traffic too. And I was making all these crazy U-turns, and I was like, maybe if I get pulled over, anything. I was like, I did not know how to shake him. And then I saw a row of houses, and I was like, I know the way that they're built, that there's an alley behind them, and I can pull into the alley and pull into somebody's parking, like garage or spot, and hide. And so I made a sharp right and then turned right in and lost him. And I called Domino's, and I told them what happened. And a couple weeks later, and they said that they would temporarily suspend him. So justice was considered. But a couple weeks later, I get a call from my insurance company about a car accident I was in on that day. And so I'm like, no, there was never an accident. This is actually what happened. And I told them about how he followed me and how he was recording me as he was following me. And then I said, I'm going to send you a video of my car to show you that there's no damage on it. And I did. And his insurance fraud case was dropped. And that is my story for the moth, which I think could have won. I could have won the contest. Do I want to? Okay. Army Hammer now has a podcast. It's like called Army Hammer Time or something. And he talked about how he was like, women are the worst. So I tried hooking up with a guy and basically he couldn't get it up. And it's like, dude, you can't just decide one day that you're gay. That's really not how it works. You have to be genetically inclined for these things. But I appreciate his honesty. He told a very embarrassing story, but I think also he's been through everything imaginable, so nothing could embarrass him more. And I'm going to leave you on that. I hope you have an Army Hammer in your life. If you like this podcast, please leave a review, some stars, tell a friend, post about it, anything. I really appreciate your support and thank you for listening.